Hello children, welcome back to the Literature Teacher YouTube channel. Once again, I'm going to analyze a new poem in your syllabus which comes under the main theme of society. So that is, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. Dear children, look at the title carefully. It is somewhat lengthy, and remember that except the article the, all the other words are starting with a capital letter. I know that you all know about the significance of the capitalization, spellings, and the punctuation marks in the title and the name of the poet, right? I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. Okay, let's look at the poet. She's the poet. She's an Afro-American, right? And she struggles to say us something very significant which she experienced badly in her time, right? Let's see what is it. What can you say about this picture, dear children? There is a cage and two birds are flying here and there. The door of the cage is open and all the two are free. Can you imagine the freedom they experience as free birds? And what about this? The bird is in a cage, in a very narrow cage, and he is imprisoned. But he voices, but he screams, but he sings, right? Sings for freedom. The poem is about that. If we happen to be caged in like this, my dear children, what do we feel? Apita monawa hitayda, right? Can you imagine, can you remember during the corona period, we also happened to be imprisoned in the houses. And all the wild animals, birds and every other creatures were freely roaming here and there while we were imprisoned. Even we could not stay in the same house for 2 or 3 days. How many people were out there because they felt it's embarrassing to be imprisoned. But without any feeling, my dear children, how many of you have pets at home caged like this, especially the birds, right? You love them, I know that. But have you ever thought of their feelings while they are in prison? So you give what you have to give. Now you just think of that you are going for 2 or 3 days on a picnic. So you place several fruits in the cage of your pet. Willingly or unwillingly, this bird happens to eat those things, though they are spoiled or not. කැමති වුණත් නැති වුණත් දරුවනේ අර ඕගොල්ලෝ තියලා යන කෑම ටික අඹ ගෙඩිය ගස් ලැබු කෑල්ල අර සතා කන්න ඕනේ. දවස් දෙකක් යනකොට දවසක් යනකොට පිලුණු වෙලා නරක් වෙලා ස්පොයිල් වෙලා. But they have to eat it as there's nothing fresh to be eaten. So that is how the caged life. So when the caged bird sees that the other birds are freely hanging around here and there, claiming the whole sky is theirs, what would be the feelings? මොනවද පුතේ හිතනවා ඇත්තේ? එකම වර්ගයේ කුරුළු කියන වර්ගයට අදාළ සතුන් නේද? එක සතෙක් කූඩුවක හිර වෙලා ඉඳිද්දී අනිත් කුරුල්ලෝ නිදහසේ කෑ ගගා සැරිසරනකොට you just think about yourself. ඔයාලා ගැන හිතලා බලන්න. හිර ගෙවල් වල කූරු ගනින මිනිසුන් ගැන හිතලා බලන්න. That's another story. Sometimes they may have done a wrong deed, right? It's as a punishment. But what is the wrong these innocent creatures have done? මේ අහිංසක සත්තු පුතේ වරදක් කළ පළියට නෙවෙයිනේ අපි කූඩු කරන්නේ. That is for our pleasure. right? If these innocent creatures can talk, my dears, what would they say? Let's see. I'm going back to the apartheid system prevailed in Africa, America, right? Can you see the staircases are divided into two? Europeans only, non-Europeans only because of the skin color. Right? A skin color, that's a biological factor, my dear children. So how can they avoid? මේ හැම වර්ණය වෙනස් කරන්නේ කොහොමද දරුවනේ? Right? That is their inborn color. So why do these discriminations were available in those times? Right? Same staircase divided into two, same station, right? Railway station is divided into two as blacks and whites, right? The benches in the parks were named whites only. Where is the humanity පුතේ? පාක් එකක පාරයිනේ තියෙන බෙන්ච් එකක whites only කියලා නම් කරන්න තරම් අර colors දෙකේ තියෙන වෙනස මොකක්ද? But unfortunately these things were the reality. මේ හැම දේම තමයි පුතේ reality උනේ. Look at this picture, it's really pathetic. Caution, be aware of natives. අර පුතේ ඕගොල්ලන් ගෙවල් වල gate එකේ ගහන්නේ beware of dogs වගේ. So it's really embarrassing and heart paining, right? Caution, beware of natives. අර අපි ගාල්ලේ හම්බන්තොට කතරගම පැත්තේ යනකොට පාරේ කැලේ දෙපැත්තේ ගහලා තියෙනව නේද? පරිස්සම් වෙන්න අලි පාරි මාරු වෙනවා නේද? So we become scared. Now look at these people. Beware of natives. So දේශිකයන්ගෙන් පරිස්සම් වෙන්න. Are they really brutal? This notice board, this notice shows that these people are really violent and brutal and cruel. So they happen to be so because of these injustices, because of this cruelty of the whites. So these innocent people, they were suppressed and oppressed by their own skin color. You see this one? This lift is for Europeans only. Service lift is provided for tradesmen, non-Europeans, brands and dogs. How humiliating it is, right? So Maya Angelou and people like her were struggling hard. Even the sea beach, you see, has been divided into two. See that? Whites only, beach and sea. ඇයි පුතේ හැමේ කළු පාට ගෑවෙන නිසාද? නිකමට හිතලා බලන්න දරුවනේ මේ apartheid system එහෙම නැත්තම් black and white color bar මේ discrimination එක කොයි තරම් නම් මේක හදවතට රිදුණු දෙයක්ද? So while these whites were enjoying all the facilities and comforts in life and opportunities were abundantly available for these white people, but for the blacks, for the same kind of humans, right? They have undergone very difficult time because of this biological factor, right? Colored. So these people were segregated into a kind of certain areas, right? So they had no basic facilities even. They were always harassed by these white-skinned people. And even these blacks were not considered as humans, right? Look at this picture. These are the shanties or the huts they had to live, right? While the whites were enjoying all the facilities, these blacks, because of the only factor that they have become blacks. එකම කාරණය පුතේ මේ මිනිසුන්ගේ හැම කළු පාට වීම පමණයි. So these are some kind of newspaper cuttings, right? People like Nelson Mandela, right? They fought against this kind of apartheid system, right? And they struggled hard. People like Maya Angelou, they raised their voices. They understood, their children, that raising their voice is the only way to struggle. So they were subjected to so many mental and physical harassments. But they managed to raise their voice because Maya Angelou clearly understood the power of words, right? So she started writing, right? Shall we go into the poem, my dears? I Know Isaac Edgeworth sings by Maya Angelou. The free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends, and dips his wings in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. So Maya Angelou has brought out the free bird's action, behavior of the free bird at the very beginning to give us a very clear picture about how these free birds are enjoying their freedom. It's quite natural, right? It's so contrasting when it comes to the second stanza, my dear children. The free bird leaps on the back of the wind. උලඟ හමන් යන අතට නෙවෙයි පුතේ. Free bird try කරනවා අනිත් පැත්තට පියාඹන්න. Who sets barriers for him? Who says no for him? There's nobody. He's totally free to do whatever he wants. So he leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends. අර පුතේ ඇලේ ගඟේ ගලාගෙන යන පැත්තට අර ජලකඳ මත වාඩි වෙලා, current means that ජලකඳ කියලා අපි කියමු. අර ජලකඳ මත මේ කුරුල්ලා වාඩි වෙලා පුතේ ගඟ ගලාගෙන යනකම් ඇති වෙනකම් පා වෙලා යනවා. Floats downstream till the current ends. අර ජල ධාරාව පා වෙලා යනකම්ම පා වෙනවා. කවුද එපා කියන්නේ? මෙතනින් එහාට එන්න එපා. Who says? Nobody says. So he lavishly enjoying the freedom, right? And dips his wings in the orange sun rays. අර තෙමිච්ච අත්තටු පුතේ අර තැඹිලි පාට ලස්සන හිරුවෙලියේ warm කරනවා, උණුසුම් කරනවා, තෙත හිඳව ගන්නවා, right? ඒ අතරේ and dares to claim the sky. ඒ අතරේ උගේ voice එකෙන් ඇහෙන්නේ පුතේ මේ මුළු අහසම මගේ, right? Sky, that is the limit of their freedom. You know that the sky has no limit, no boundary. So that is how the whites enjoyed their freedom. So this free bird is a symbol and also a metaphor. So the poet metaphorically and symbolically represents the freedom these free birds, or else these white people, enjoyed during that time, right? It's really happy. This bird is really happy. He's enjoying the freedom. Now let's move on to the second stanza. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. Look at the behavior of this caged bird. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage, පුතේ අර අඩියක් අඩි එක හමාරක් විතර පළල පුංචි කූඩුවේ එහාට මෙහාට හැරෙන්න විතරක් ඉඩ තියෙන කූඩුවේ, can seldom see through his bars of rage. පුතේ අර කම්බි කූරු, bars of rage, තරහේ වෛරයේ වේදනාවේ යකඩ කූරු බවට පේන්නේ. ඒ අතරින් ඔළුව පල්ලෙහාට හරවලා බැලුවත් පුතේ අහසේ පෙනෙන්නේ just only a patch of it, right? This is also a bird, or the creature belongs to the nature, right? His wings are clipped. අනේ දරුවනේ මොනතරම් අපරාධයක්ද. අර අහිංසක කුරුල්ලෙක් ගෙනල්ලා කූඩුවේ දාලා කේජ් කරලා හිර කරලා තියනවා විතරක් නෙවෙයි. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied. උගේ කකුල් ගැට ගහලා කූඩුව ඇතුලෙත් දාලා කකුලුත් ගැට ගහලා පියාපතුත් කපලා දාලා. Would you think that? Right? How this bird be free one day? පුතේ මේ කූඩුවේ දොර ඇරලා කකුල ලෙහලා අනේ එළියට ඵලයන් කිව්වත් මේ කුරුල්ලට නිදහසක් තියෙයිද පියාඹලා යන්න? How brutal that is. Right? අර අහිංසක කුරුල්ලගේ තටු කපලා බයොලොජිකලි Tamanට හම්බ වෙච්ච wings දෙක කපලා දාන්න තියෙන අයිතිය කාටද දුන්නේ? Right? අර කූඩුවේ හිර කරලා බව දැන ඇයි දරුවනේ කකුල දන් වැලකින් ගැට ගහලා තියෙන්නේ? So that suggests the restricted freedom. That suggests the brutality of this apartheid system. You just think of these people. මේ කුරුල්ලා වෙනුවට මිනිස්සෙක් රිප්ලේස් කරලා බලන්න දරුවනේ. අත්තටු කපලා අතපය කපලා විලංගු දාලා. Right? Have you ever heard about this slavery? වහල් භාවය කියන එක අහලා තියෙනවද පුතේ? Right? එතකොට අර පතල් වල diamond mines වල right මිනිරන් පතල් වල නේද oil නේද මේ නිදි වල මේ පතල් හාර ගන්න හැඩි දැඩි මිනිසුන් මේ බ්ලැක්ස්ලා යූස් කරා සුදු ජාතික මිනිසුන් හැඩි දැඩි මිනිසුන්ව පුතේ වෙන්දේසේ විකුණුවා. You just think about the humanity. ඉහළම මිලක් කෙව්වා ශක්තිවන්තයින්ට. ඒ මිනිසුන්ගෙන් දිවා කාලේ වැඩ අරගෙන දරුවනේ රෑතිසර අලි අලි ගැට ගහන දන්වැල් වගේ ඒවා කකුල් වලට දාලා හිර කරලා තිබුණා. මේ මිනිසුන්ගේ හදවත් කොහෙද තිබුණේ? right? හිතන්නකෝ මනුස්සකම මනුස්සෙක් නේද කියන හැඟීමක් සුදු ජාතික මිනිසුන්ට තිබුණේ නැහැ. අර කළු ජාතික හැම කළු වීමේ වරද නිසාම ඒ මිනිසුන් අන්තසරණ ලෙස දුක් විඳා. So like this caged bird. So that's why Maya Angelou represents the black race from this caged bird. His wings are clipped. He would never be free. ඒ මිනිස්සු පුතේ කවදාවත් free වෙන එකක් නෑ. කූඩුවේ දොර ඇරලා දුන්නත් නිදහස් ලෝකයට යන්න බෑ තටු කපලා. Right? හැබැයි එක දෙයක් කරනවා පුතේ. So he opens his throat to sing. අත්තටු කපලා යදමින් කකුල් ගැට ගහලා තිබුණා. voice එක පාවිච්චි කරනවා පුතේ ගායනාවට. ඒ ගායනාව අඳෝනාවක්. Right? Let's go to the third stanza. The caged bird sings with fearful trill of the things unknown. අනේ පුතේ කුරුල්ලා කෑ ගහනවා caged bird. That's a completely a screaming. It's not very beautiful and soothing to listen. ඒක අඳුනාවක් විතරයි. He is requesting and yearning for freedom. හැබැයි පුතේ freedom එක කොයි වගේද කියන්න අත්විඳලා නැහැ. නිදහසේ ඉන්න කුරුල්ලා මේ ගහේ අඹවලට මං කැමති නැත්තම් ඌ තව ගහකට පියාඹයි. හැබැයි ඒ ගහේ අඹ කොච්චර නැවුම්ද කියන්නවත් මේ free bird දන්නේ නැහැ. එයා දන්නවා this raising voice would be a punishment for in return. මේ කතා කිරීම කෑ ගැහීමත් පුතේ punishment එකක් වෙනවමයි. හැබැයි අතහැරියේ නෑ. They struggled hard for freedom. Fearful trill එකක් විතරයි. බොහොම භයානක අඳෝනාවක් විතරයි ඇහෙන්නේ. ඒකත් නොදන්නා දේවල් ගැන. freedom එක අත්විඳලා නැහැනේ දරුවනේ. ඒ නිසා ඒ freedom එක කොයි වගේද කියලා දන්නේ නැහැ. But longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. පුතේ මේ අඳෝනාව ඈත කඳු දක්වා ඇහෙනවා. right? ඒක මේ අවට පරිසරයට විතරක් නෙමෙයි මුළු ලෝකෙටම ඇහෙනවා. How these people were crying inside. How these people were struggling hard and yearning for freedom. හැබැයි පුතේ distant hills වලට ඇහුණත් nobody responded. right? ඇහෙනවා. නමුත් කරන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. ඒකට respond කරන්න විදිහක් නැහැ. So they become so unhappy, right? The free bird thinks of another breeze. ඊළඟ හුලඟට පියාඹනවා මං. Another breeze, right? And the trade winds soft through the sighing trees. අර සුළඟ හමාගෙන එනවා. සමහර වෙලාවට සබාදහමත් sighing trees මේ cage bird වෙනුවෙන් දුක් වෙනවා ඇති. අර හමන් එන සුළඟ ගස් අතරින් හමන් යනවා. නමුත් free bird එකේ වගේ වගක් නැහැ. He doesn't care about those protests and all, right? And the fat worms waiting on a dawn bright lawn. අද උදේ පාන්දර පායගෙන ඉර පායගෙන එන වෙලාවේ අර fat worms that suggests, that symbolizes the opportunities these free birds have or the whites had, right? ඒගොල්ලන්ට තිබිච්ච පුතේ opportunities තමයි මේ රැකියාව මට එපා නම් I will make another one. So that is for the free people. That is for the free set of people, not for these innocent, segregated blacks, right? And he names the sky his own. පුතේ මේ අහස මගේ. කරන්න බැරි දෙයක් වුණත් he can claim it, right? මේ අහස මගේ කියලා කියන freedom එකක් තියෙනවනේ. You see the anaphora and in this stanza පුතේ එහෙම and වලින් join කරන්න තරම් ගොඩාක් opportunities තියෙනවා යාලට. හරියට උදේ පාන්දර ඉරේලිය පායනකට අර පස්වල යට ඉන්න කඳ පණු අර සුදු පාට පණු උඩට මතුවලා ඉන්නේ අනේ අපිව කාලා යමන් කියනවා වගේ. එහෙම opportunities කොහෙද දරුවනේ අර කූඩු වෙලා ඉන්න සතෙකුට? Right. But a caged bird stands on the grave of dreams. That's a very powerful statement, dear children. Grave of dreams. The paradox lies there. Metaphor lies there. Grave, you know, it's a cemetery. Neda, tomb එකක්. Dream is a home. එතකොට grave of dreams. පුතේ dream එකක් තියෙනවා. One day to have freedom. හැබැයි පුතේ දන්නවා කවදාවත් ලැබෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ හීන දකින්න කලින් මැරිලා ඉවරයි. That's why the poetess says it's on grave of dreams. Paradoxically, right, Maya Angelou gives us that even their dreams are not attainable. They are not ever fulfilled, right? His shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. අනේ මේ අහිංසක මිනිසුන්ගේ මේ කුරුල්ලාගේ shadow එකත් පුතේ nightmare scream. You know what a nightmare is? That's a bad dream, scary dream. පුතේ these that suggests these people are mentally disturbed too. මේ අහිංසක සත්තු මිනිස්සු පුතේ physically harassed වෙනවා විතරක් නෙමෙයි, even they are disturbed, even they are harassed and embarrassed by mentality too. නිදාගෙන එක පැයක් සැනසීමේ නිදා ගන්න නැහැ. ඒකත් භයානක හීන තමන් විඳ tortures මද වේදනාවලට බයේ මෙයා හැරෙනවා. Right? His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. තටු කපලා තිබුණත් කකුල් ගැට ගහලා තිබුණත් දරුවනේ එයා මොනවද කරන්නේ? කට අරිනවා. මොකටද? Opens his throat to sing, gain out. But can you see the passive structures used here? This is repeatedly given. His wings are clipped, right? And his feet are tied. That suggests the passivity of these people and the bird. And also it suggests that these things are done by somebody else, right? These actions are done by somebody upon him, right? කවුරු හරි විසින් මෙයාලට කරලා තියෙන වැඩක්. So here this is the passive structure used by the poet, right? There is a repeated verse, my dears. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown, but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. ඈතට ඇහෙනවා මේ caged birdගේ දුක් බර අඳෝනාව. His yearning for freedom is heard by many people, but it seems they are unheard. මේ apartheid system එක ලෝකයේ දැක්කා. Right? But ඒකට පුතේ response එකක් favorable response එකක් කියන ලොකු කාලයක් ගියා. Right? So here the poem speaks about freedom as a theme, and also it deals with oppression and racial discrimination also, using two symbols, two metaphors as free bird and a caged bird. Maya Angelou shows us the racial discrimination prevailed during her era. How people became brutal, how these innocent blacks were oppressed and suppressed by the skin color, how they were subjected to injustice and tortures. So it's really pathetic, right? Dear children, these are the two themes, freedom and the oppression of social discrimination, right? She has used number of techniques, right? You can see here like these. There are so many images, right? Kinesthetic images, exaggeration, visual images, color symbols, right? Symbols of free bird and a caged bird, grave of dreams, paradox, right? Alliteration, assonance, anaphora, these are there. Repetition of a verse also you can see here, right? So that's a poem, my dear children, that comes under the main theme of society. So Maya Angelou showed us a kind of discrimination prevail in the society. Shall we go for an extraction question? Okay. And floats downstream till the current ends and dips its wings in the orange sun rays. From where are these lines taken? Who wrote them? I know why the caged bird sings by Maya Angelou. Be careful about the capitalization and the spellings here. Who is referred to as his in this extract? කවුද පුතේ his කියලා කියන්නේ මෙතන? The free bird. Yes, the article must be there, right? Because free bird is a common name. Identify a poetic device used above. You can use personification here, right? Visual images වගේ දේවල් ලියන්න එපා. පුතේ images නම් extractions වල ලියන්න එපා, right? What feelings and emotions about he are brought out by these lines? What feelings and emotions about the free bird? So feeling of enjoyment, happiness, light-heartedness are felt when we see the freedom the bird enjoys lavishly here. මේ කුරුල්ලා මෙතන ඕනටත් වඩා පුතේ freedom එක enjoy කරනවානේ. ඒක දකින්නකොට අපිට එන feelings අහන්නේ happiness. හරිම relaxed, happy, enjoyment. So those are the feelings, right? Shall we go for the 2018 question then? Above all, Maya Angelou highlights the need for freedom. The needs for freedom. Discuss with reference to her poem set for your study. I have given you some points here. The poem is a metaphorical illustration of brutality and social disparity. So you have to show through the evidences pute. The two birds are symbolic of the privileged and the underprivileged people in the society. You have to mention that also. Placing these two birds free and caged. What does Maya Angelou want to deal with? So that's what you need to show. Compare and contrast the freedom and comfortable behavior of the free bird who is lavishly enjoying the freedom and the suppressed and oppressed behavior of the caged bird, right? So limit your answer for half an hour and have a good introduction. Freedom, need for freedom. පුතේ how do these suppressed people were struggling hard, how they raise voices for unknown freedom, right? Knowing that this raising voice would be a torture for them themselves, these people were struggling hard, right? So have a kind of good organization, right? Have a good introduction, at least 3 body paragraphs, and then have a strong conclusion and end the answer. But remember, my dear children, you have to do all these things within 30 minutes, right? Okay then, children, I hope you have understood the poem very well, and I hope to meet you with another poem so soon. And don't forget to like us and subscribe my YouTube channel, The Literature Teacher, and don't forget to make me encourage with your valuable comment. Thank you, dear children, and have a nice day. God bless you all.